Back at it, waiting for the next crazy trade deadline move. Of course, Luka went to the Lakers, and that's been taking over the entire news cycle. But the De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs trade has seemed to kind of go under the radar. But this is a gigantic trade as well. Getting right into this trade, people in San Antonio and people all over are saying that the Sacramento Kings got fleeced by the San Antonio Spurs, and the Spurs won in this trade, which the Spurs definitely did. If you look at the package real quick, and it doesn't look bad. Sacramento Kings. I'll leave out Zach LaVine because that was the Bulls side of the trade, which doesn't have anything to do so much with San Antonio, just to make the money work and the roster spots work. But yeah, the Kings get City Sissoko, um, 3 first-round picks from the Spurs, and then 3 second-round picks from the Spurs as well. So if you see that in black and white, and if you told someone, hey, the Kings traded De'Aaron Fox from the three-team deal, they got back Zach LaVine, City Sissoko, 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks, you probably say, hey, that doesn't sound so bad. You already know De'Aaron Fox has vocalized that he plans on going to San Antonio by the end of the 2026 season. So worst case scenario for us to get De'Aaron Fox would have probably been if we wait, 25-26 season goes by and then we get him when he's 28 years old. But we got him sooner here. People have argued the point that, we should have waited and just got him as a free agent. Don't give up anything. Why did you give up your 3 first-round picks? But we'll get into it here and show you, why the Spurs won this trade and why it doesn't really make a lot of sense for the Kings. Yeah, I'm getting to the definition of a protected and unprotected draft pick. So if you don't know, a lot of people don't so much know the difference. It can be pretty confusing. But a protected pick typically comes with stipulations if it is traded away. A variety of forms these stipulations can be expressed. That's where it gets confusing. The protected picks, in contrast, unprotected picks are not subject to such restrictions. Unprotected picks aren't confusing. Say Team A has a first-round draft pick for this year, and they trade it to Team B, and then Team A just sucks for the rest of the year. Team B gets their draft pick. It'll probably be a higher draft pick because Team A wasn't good. Let's say Team A trades their first-round draft pick to Team B, but Team A's first-round draft pick is top 10 protected. That's a term you hear a lot, top 10 protected. So Team A trades their top 10 protected draft pick to Team B, but that draft pick they traded to Team B ends up being a top 10 pick. So say Team A, they trade their pick away. Team A has a really crappy season, so that pick ends up being a top 10 pick. Then they get it back and they get to keep their pick. If the pick ends up being, out of the top 10, then Team B gets to pick for themselves and keep that pick. So that's kind of the difference. It can get super complicated with the protections. So I'll get into the protections with that Charlotte Hornets pick that we had traded away, because that's that first round pick we had traded away. Because remember, we traded three first-round picks. Real quick, I'm at a whopping 10 subscribers, trying to get to 15 by the end of the day if I can. So please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Right back to it. So yeah, we traded Charlotte's first-round pick. It's top 14 protected. Otherwise, it becomes a 2026 and 2027 second-round pick. So this pick is not going to play out. Remember, top 10 protected. Remember how I explained how that works. This one's top 14 protected. So there's only 30 teams. That's going to be the last pick in the first round because it's only 15 picks in the first round. So it's a top 14 protected. So the only way that would pan out for Charlotte is if they got the 15th pick in the first round, and that's not going to happen because teams have so much draft capital in front of Charlotte that they're going to get those picks, in front of Charlotte, and this pick's not going to pan out. It's going to end up becoming 2 second-round picks. So basically, San Antonio traded the 2 first-round picks, basically 5 second-round picks, because this first-rounder from Charlotte is going to end up becoming 2 second-rounders, and it all gets super confusing. I'm sure people are probably thinking, but hey, Charlotte sucks this season. They should get a good draft pick, and they are going to get a good draft pick. They're projected to get the number 4 pick, but that's their own pick for this season. So yeah, Charlotte they're horrible. No offense to Charlotte fans, but they're the 14th seed in the East, so they're in tank mode. They're not going to out tank the Washington Wizards, though. That's the only way. If they out tank the Washington Wizards, then somehow that ends up becoming the 15th pick in the first round. That's the only way that pick would not turn into 2 second rounders. And again, there's all sorts of teams with draft capital in front of Charlotte, so that pick's not going to end up being a first rounder. It's going to pan out into 2 second rounders. All right, so that was that Hornets pick. The 2027 first round pick via the Spurs. I guess that one could be a little bit interesting, but by 2027, we're gonna be a competing team for sure. So that one, we don't see that being a high draft pick. Because yeah, 25, 26, then 26, 27. Wemby's gonna have been with De'Aaron Fox. That'll be the third year they've been together. Third or second, I guess second and a half year they've been together. We're going to add even more pieces at the trade deadline. We're going to have even more draft picks before then for the Spurs. So the Spurs are probably going to be, a top 5 team just to be conservative by then. So that draft pick's not going to be a high pick. The Spurs aren't going to be missing the playoffs or something to where that draft pick's going to pan out to be a high pick. The one that is a little interesting down here, Chicago Bulls get their own 2025 first round pick back. So we already own their first round pick. We just gave it back to Chicago. So that pick was already via the Spurs. So that pick depends on how good we are to finish this season off, basically. But to finish off the season with us having De'Aaron Fox, we're planning on adding some more trade pieces as well. The Spurs are probably going to finish pretty strong for this season, so I don't see that being a high pick. The only real wild card in these picks is the 2031 first round pick via the Timberwolves, because that's so far down the line. That's 6 years down the line now. So who knows if Anthony Edwards is still on the Timberwolves? Who knows what their team looks like, how things are shaking up over there. So that's really the only kind of wild card pick. Hornets pick is going to turn into, because remember that's the top 14 protected. Otherwise, it turns into 2 second round picks. So that's going to turn into 2 second round picks. 2027 first rounder via the Spurs. So Spurs are going to be already a very strong team by 2027. That's not going to be a high pick. The Chicago Bulls, the 2027 first round via the Spurs again. So again, that depends on how strong the Spurs finish this season, or how weak rather. I guess if you're a Chicago fan. But yeah, for that to be a good pick, you want the Spurs to miss the playoffs and not look good, for the end of this season. But with the Spurs picking up De'Aaron Fox, again, they're going to make even more trades before the deadline. Spurs will probably finish this season and make the playoffs, and that's not going to end up being a very high pick either. Then again, we traded him those 3 second round picks, 25, 28, and 28, 2 via the Bulls and 1 via the Nuggets. But the Spurs are sitting on like 30 different second round picks between now and 2030, I believe. So we just have so many second round picks we can trade. So they're not really worried about the second rounders on the Spurs there. So yeah, the main thing again was that Charlotte first round pick, because people were making a big deal. Not making a big deal, but if you have 1 point, even if your point's like super strong and all the evidence points to your point being right, people are going to argue the counterpoint at all times. Just like with the Luka Doncic trade, everyone's saying, "Man, Dallas is so freaking stupid. They got fleeced in this trade. Why would you do something so stupid?" I think probably 90% of the population agrees on that. But with that being said, there's going to be the 10% of people that are going to argue the counterpoint, whether they believe in that or not. They're going to argue that counterpoint. So with that being said, people have been arguing that, I don't know, that Sacramento won the trade, or maybe it was, I don't think anyone's arguing that, but that it was more even of a trade than it actually was, and they're trying to use that Charlotte first round pick. Like I said, you look at the trade, they pick up City Sissoko, 3 first round picks and 3 second round picks from the Spurs. So again, just looking at it from the outside in black and white, it looks pretty good. 3 first rounders, 3 second rounders, not bad. You already knew De'Aaron was going to leave at the end of next season anyway. So it doesn't sound too bad from that perspective. But again, once you break it down, that's where it gets so complicated with the protected picks. So you really have to look at those pick protections, to really understand the value being moved in the deal and how valuable those picks are. But yeah, with that being a top 14 protected, again, it's not going to pan out It's going to turn into a 2026 and a 2027 second round pick. And the Spurs are not going to be a kind of team, in 2026 and 2027 that are trying to acquire second round pick talent so much. By that time, San Antonio's likely going to be a very strongly built team. I don't know if we'll be competing for championships in 26 and 27 exactly. We're hoping so, of course, but definitely be a perennial playoff team already by then. So we're not too worried about those second round picks down the line. And again, we have like 30 of them. I guess 28 now since we traded away those three. But yeah, we should have so many second round picks between now and 2030. So yeah, Kings got fleeced as far as I'm concerned. Please comment below what you think about the trade and what you think about the protected draft picks. If the Kings got good value back for De'Aaron, or if you think they could have got more for De'Aaron Fox. Because again, this trade kind of came out of nowhere as well. It didn't seem like De'Aaron Fox he wasn't put on the trading block. He wasn't being shopped publicly in the public eye or anything like that. So this one kind of came out of nowhere as well, but it definitely worked out for the Spurs, and the Spurs definitely won in this trade. But yeah, please comment below what you think. Please like and subscribe as well, and we'll see y'all next time.